Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. As you can see, it's just Chris tonight for the usual show that we do every Monday, where me and Mark normally ask you what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. Mark can't be here tonight, sadly. He's got some family matters to deal with. So spare a thought for Mark in the comments, guys. If you can, I will do my best to drive this bus solo for you this evening. I've done it before and I will bloody well do it again. But thank you so much, everyone who's joining us live tonight. We're going to get stuck right in. Just before we do, a little reminder. If you haven't already, smash that button. We'd love you to come and subscribe. We're over 8,300 subs now, so loads of room for you on the Evermore YouTube channel. Great little community here. We just love talking about football. No ill will, no severe disagreements. As I always say, if you're a prick, you get the flick. You're welcome. If you're not a Newcastle fan, majority of you are Newcastle fans, but smash that comment, come and join, subscribe, like the video, all the usual shenanigans that you'd like to do in the chats. We have got some live ones already. Ty is in the house. A dose of Evermore on Monday night is better than knob rot. Well, I hope it would be, Ty. Hopefully it's not as irritating as well made. We've got Ash as well in the house. Yes, Ash, we're about to do this. Dean is in the house as well. Good to see you. Jack is also in the house. All the usual suspects. Duncan is here as well. Good to see you. Cushy is on board as well. There's a few more over here as well. Stu Mag is back in the house. Good to see you, mate. And we've got Mark here in UFC. Yes, hope Mark is okay. Yeah, Mark is all good, mate. He'll love the comment there as well. I'm sure he'll be back for next week. But more pressing things take matter tonight as well. Michael's already gone early. Another brilliant show. Thanks, Michael. Great stuff, mate. We're only a couple of minutes in. Love it, mate. You keep those comments coming, Bonnie lad. You keep them coming. An evening to you to antagonize. Well, we're going to get stuck right in a second here, just to all things Newcastle United. But just if you bear with me and allow me just a couple of seconds here just to talk about all the madness that's been going on in the world, really. I know we're a football channel. I'm not going to dwell too much on this. We're not a political podcast, but I must just say something about it. You know, I know other channels have just glossed over it. I don't really want to gloss over it because it is pretty grim and appalling what's going on in the world today. You know, certainly in our country and all the major cities as well. You know, I'm going to talk about the Sela Cup in a minute and whether fans do or don't feel safe going to that game. You know, we put something out on social media and had some interactions with it, and a lot of fans don't feel safe, and you can totally understand why. But what I'm going to say about this is no matter what side you sit on, be it left or right, there's a line, and when you cross that line, you can't go back. You can't act the way people have been acting. You don't have the right to put your hands on individuals if you disagree with who they are, where they're from, what they look like, what their beliefs are. You don't have the right to go smashing up shops and robbing people. That's not what what this is. You know, that's not what it should be. And it just, you know, the scene is just really sick of me, to be brutally honest with you. I just wanted to offer a quick little opinion on that as well. We have a very small platform here. By no means are we anything huge, but if anybody is watching our platform and is thinking where they should get involved and all that kind of stuff, what I would just, you know, kind of advise you on doing is just take a minute, have a think, count to 5, and just ask yourself, is that something that you think you really should be doing? Now, whether you're on the left or right, as I said, you know, I'm not drawing lines in the sand here. I'm very much in the middle. But, you know, there's things that you should and shouldn't do really in life. And if you don't know where that line is, you need to go get your moral compass recalibrated, because you're acting like an arsehole on either side of it. So that's all I've got to say about that, guys. Sorry to get heavy in the first couple of minutes of the show, but yeah, normally I've got my partner kind of riding side saddle with me there, nodding away in agreement normally with what I'm saying. But I just wanted to get it off my chest because, you know, the scenes have been absolutely terrible, to be fair. Thanks, Ash, for that comment as well, mate. But I just, yeah, for me, I just seeing it just makes me feel absolutely sick. Some of the stuff I've seen is just absolutely violent. I'm going to get into the Sela Cup in a minute, but I just hope Newcastle as a city shows an example and doesn't behave like this, stands up and tells these fuckers exactly where to go. So comment there from Alex. Good evening all. Coming from Texas live in the UK after my transfer. It's a lot cooler. I love watching you in a great show. Ah, good man. Great to see you, mate. Great to see you. I hope Texas is good over there. I hope you're staying safe and sound as well, mate. A few more comments before we jump in. Ian is saying, step back and have a pint. Yeah, exactly, mate. Why not have a pint? Exactly. We've got Guy in the comments. Good to see you, Guy. Good stuff. Have a pint. Drink responsibly, though, mate. Ash is saying there's a lot more tamer than I was expecting. Yeah. It's difficult when I've only got myself on the mic, mate, to be fair. But a comment there from Roger as well, saying, bang on, thank you, mate. And Guy saying, well said. Thank you so much, guys. I just wanted to get off my chest. I didn't want to gloss over it. I think, as I say, if you've got a platform, no matter how big or small, I think you should try and use it, for the best that you can as well. We've got a super chat in from Insanity. Good to see you again, Chris. Looking forward to a good show. Thank you so much, Insanity. Thanks for your generosity there as well, Bonnie lad. So anyway, let's get stuck into Newcastle United. That's what we're all here for, isn't it? I'm going to get right back to the banter and the football. I promise you, no more heavy talk unless it's about Newcastle. So talk a little bit about the tour over in Japan. I don't think it was something that Eddie Howe really wanted, to be pretty honest. He didn't seem the happiest with the club going over to Japan. Again, I think it was overshadowed with all the England talk. It was overshadowed with the lack of signings as well. Tonali went as part of the squad, but he couldn't play, which I thought was a bit of a pointless thing, really. I know it's televised and everything, but how the fuck is a lad meant to get his match fitness? I appreciate, he's serving a ban. He's being punished for obviously what he did wrong, and I think he's served a hell of a long ban as it is already, and I don't see the problem in playing in a pre-season game, but very much a kind of a tour, well, a pre-season tour of two very, very different games. To be fair, the first game, again, I think we started off a little bit ropey, and then we ended up smashing the Uriah Reds. I think it was about 4-1, wasn't it? Yeah, 4-1 in the end. A couple of goals there from Jacob Murphy. Everyone thought he was going to be the answer for the right wing position. But the game of the weekend against, I think it was Yokohama FM, was a very interesting game. Obviously, Lloyd Kelly started at centre half. Like Sir pinged as old Lloyd Kelly, I must say. Yeah, he looked all right in certain areas, pinging crossfield passes around. Bruno started as well, and how wonderful was it to see Bruno wearing a captain's armband? By the way, it just looked like it fit, didn't it? It looked like it just suited him down to the ground. Absolutely class to see Bruno back in the middle of the park. Used the ball really well, as he always does. But Newcastle looked leggy. I thought they looked tired. Very humid conditions, very hot. You could see the sweat pissing off the shirts. The two goals we conceded were quite poor. I know it's a pre-season game and it's all about, minutes in the legs, but the defense didn't look particularly sharp. I think Lewis Hall had some nice touches on the ball once again, using the ball well, some lovely infield passes, trying to put Alexander Isak through. At one point, when one of them, the keeper went down, and I thought, shit, is Alexander Isak injured again? We all thought it didn't, but he got back up, thank God, and he was subbed off as a precautionary measure off the back of that. But it was just a little bit ropey, I felt, just a little bit leggy. Looked like the lads had maybe been there too long. I must admit, I don't agree with some of the abuse Sean Longstaff had when he tweeted about a great week in Japan. I think you got a lot of stick in the comments. Again, sadly, it's indicative of the way people are behaving in general, like I just said at the start of the show there. But I think that the tour itself, or the preseason games itself, it's more about putting that work in, I think, in those high humid conditions. But I'm just not sure if it was really a successful tour. To be fair, you're flying from the other side of the world back straight into Sela Cup action this weekend against better opposition. So maybe, we'll get to see Newcastle play against some slightly better opposition and maybe be a better test for them just before the Southampton game. Nice little super chat there from Alexander as well. $1.99. Thanks, mate. I'll get used to that. $1.99. And also, Antagonize has gifted an Evermore membership to one of you lucky devils. So thank you so much for that, Antagonize. You're an absolute star. Cushy says leads by example. I don't know who that's for, mate. Well, maybe Bruno, I think. And Marcus says, if you can use my donation for more people, you channel must have top props. Yeah, thank you so much, Marcus. Really appreciate that. And yes, hit the like, mate. Hit the like, everybody, if you can. But yeah, I just think Bruno, for me, just suits that armband. It could level him out. Remember, there's players like David Beckham who had that kind of immaturity or that rashness to his game a little bit. He'd lose his rag and boot people like he did in the World Cup. Got the captain's armband, and it just elevated him as a player once again. And as Davey says there, Bruno was running on the spot second half, bless him. He gave the ball away over 40 times during the game, really sloppy. I mean, Bruno did just come back from a Brazilian wedding and the Copa America, to be fair, Davey, so he's probably absolutely fucked. But what I love the most about Bruno, so Bruno came to social media, and it was an incredible post that he did, and it shut down all of these tossers that, Photoshop him in other team shirts and all these ITK wanks who say, Bruno Guimaraes has had a secret barbecue or a fucking conversation with Pep Guardiola and all of that shit. This is what Bruno Guimaraes said about Newcastle United, and this is fucking brilliant. I'm going to read this word for word. So he just said, "I'm very happy to be starting another season with this club that has done so much for me since my first day here. I'm glad to be back and more prepared than ever to have a brilliant season and to help Newcastle reach the highest possible position. Another dream has come true. Being the captain of this team is everything I've always dreamed of, but never imagined. We're in this together, and I'm sure I'll be more dedicated than ever to this badge. Stick that in your fucking pipe and smoke it, Romano and all you other fuckers who are trying to sell this lad out from under Newcastle's feet. He is going nowhere." And reading that, I think he's a shoo-in for the captain's armband. I really, really do. We've got a new member as well. Ash, just click that button finally. Thank you, Ash, for being a member, mate. It wasn't my little monologue at the start that tempted you, mate, but thank you so much. You're more than welcome to be on board with the club, as you say there in the comments as well, mate. But that's an amazing statement from Bruno Guimaraes. I think it really is, just to reiterate his desire to play for this football club, to show how much it means to play for this football club. And like I say, reading between the lines there, I think that's the captain's armband coming his way. There's transfer links in a minute to an England international, which I'll get stuck into, in a couple of moments. But I think Kieran Trippier may not be in the Newcastle squad this season. Lascelles is obviously out injured. I mean, Lascelles is still technically the club captain, but Trippier was the captain on and off the pitch, and Trippier was an amazing captain for Newcastle United. And I think he deserves the props. He deserves every ounce of praise that goes his way. Kieran Trippier's been sensational for Newcastle since he signed for all but 12 million quid. It was an absolute bargain. But we need a new leader, because I don't think Trips is going to be here. And I think that Bruno could very well be the man. It's either Bruno or Joe Linton, in my opinion, I think, for the captain's armband. I know Dan Burns, a local lad and everything, and he might be the vice captain, but I think there's going to be a big starting 11 player that's going to have that captain's armband this season. And I think it's going to be either Bruno or Joe, and my money is on Bruno. And after reading that as well and showing what it means to him, that's the kind of passion that Eddie wants in the dressing room as well. And I think Bruno could definitely get those lads fired up for any game, win, lose, draw. Bruno will leave it all out on the pitch as he always does, and that's what you want for your captain, leading by example. So absolutely brilliant. As Davey says there, Bruno for captain all day, he'd be so proud, and it would lift his performance even more. I definitely think he would, Davey, 100%, mate. And Ian says, new season, new start, Bruno captain all day long, 100%. I think we would have been a bit worried about it. Maybe season before, when he had that kind of hot-headed streak. He does have those moments where he just goes a little bit mental and just decides to just steam in elbow first to somebody. But fucking hell, Roy Keane had that. Patrick Vieira had that. Never took anything away from their games. They were fucking brilliant captains, and I miss a captain like that. I miss a captain. Even Gerrard had that as well. We'll go steaming into players with ridiculous tackles. You need a player who's got that fire in his belly, who's going to stick it on somebody when needs to, who's going to elevate the temperature of that game when needs to. Yes, he can do something brilliant. You pick out a brilliant pass, shoot on the top corner, whatever it is. But you need somebody to set the tone. And, as Roy Keane says, smash into somebody. And that, for me, I think that's what Bruno can do as captain as well. Roger, yeah, bang on. Shearer had that as well. Shearer led by example. That armband and Shearer went hand in hand. You're right, Shearer was filthy. I remember I used to work with this lad. He was a Norwich fan, really nice lad. And we were in the booze. I talked about Alan Shearer, and it was me, and there was a lad from Glasgow, and then this lad. And he said, Shearer wasn't dirty, was he? And I didn't even get a chance to answer. The Glaswegian lad went, "What the fuck are you watching, by the way?" And I said, Alan Shearer is one of the dirtiest players I've ever seen. But he got away with it, didn't he? Because he was old kind of Captain America, really, in terms of the referees. They never thought he was going to be as dirty as that, really, to be fair. But what a player, man. But Bruno can definitely be a great captain for Newcastle. Graham's in the comments there saying, with a lot of fans happy to push Trips and Wilson out the door. It's important that we don't lose the team's spirit. No, I agree with that, Graham. We have dressing room, a group of warriors, and Bruno could keep that and gel the spirit. Absolutely. You got Bruno, you got Joe. I think Anthony Gordon's in that bracket as well, to be honest with you. I think he really does give it his all. You know, if Barnes can stay fit, I think Barnes is a player that can lead by example in terms of his finishing and his goals. He's looked quite sharp pre-season as well. He got in a couple of really good positions against Yokohama FM at the weekend. Did Barnes again? Just the touch slightly deserted him because they looked fucked. They were leggy. They were pissed and sweat. And I think that's what really stopped Barnes getting another goal of the weekend. But Barnes looks really sharp, man, that number 11 shirt. And I think he could really be a big player for us as well. Chris is saying, I always thought he would end up captain. He loves it here, true leader. He does, Chris, and then it shuts all these arseholes up as well, doesn't it? Just trying to sell him every week. All these top 4 elite wankers who think he should never have signed for us in the first place. You had your chance and you didn't take him. Same with Alexander Isak, same with Sven Botman. He's fucked around, you pissed about, and you didn't sign him. And we signed him, and now they're brilliant players for Newcastle, and we're going to build our team around them, and we're going to come for you in your league position as well. We've got a comment there from Kendo saying, how were the chat? Absolutely. The chat is fire tonight, guys. Well done. Absolutely brilliant. Ash is saying, Barnes turning around in Brazil. He was like beetroot on legs. Humidity doesn't suit him. Yeah, he looked really, really tired, to be fair. He looked like he just come out the sauna, didn't he, Ash? He was fucked. He was pissing of sweat, to be fair. Marky is saying, I had a drunk night. Lol, excellent, mate. Excellent. Oh, love a drunk night, mate. Absolutely love a drunk night. But yeah, the Japanese tour, I'm not entirely sure how profitable, how good that was. Really spread the fan base a little bit. There was some YouTubers out there getting a bit of press in the flesh time with the hierarchy. It's obviously they grew the kind of fan base out there. And one particular fan, I must say, will get stuck into this, lad. You probably saw it doing the rounds. It was absolutely brilliant. So they're talking a lot of the Japanese fans about what made you fall in love with Newcastle United? And I must say, the Japanese fans' English was absolutely brilliant, to be honest with you. It always blows my mind when we go to these far parts of the country, the world, I beg your pardon, far parts of the world, and these people speak way better English than some of us do, to be honest with you. And we're so ignorant, we don't learn any languages. But you've probably seen this lad doing the rounds on social media. So he was asked, what was your first memory of Newcastle United? What made you fall in love with Newcastle United? And answers on a postcard, a lot of you might say the 4-3 against Liverpool, Alan Shearer, Kevin Keegan's rant, Bobby Robson, something like that. No, this lad had a special reason for why he fell in love with Newcastle United. The first game he watched was Newcastle United versus Hull, and he actually said it was Alan Pardew's headbutt on Maya. This is the one that made him fall in love with Newcastle. So there you go, guys. It takes all sorts to love the Toon, to be fair, and fair play, absolutely fair play. And we owe Alan Pardew a lot, obviously, for the Japanese fan base loving Newcastle United moving forward. So thank you, Pards, for being a bit of a nutter, literally and figuratively as well. There's loads of comments about Gahi, mate. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get stuck right into that because I'm really, really excited about that. That's going to be an unbelievable sign if we can pull that one off. It really, really is. Stu Mag is saying we've got a history of putting a signing that nobody guessed out of the blue. Mitchell must have good feelers in Europe. I think he does have a very, very good contact book, to be fair, Stu Mag, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. I'm not overly impressed with is it Usala, the young striker. I get the reasons for it, but I'm a little bit underwhelmed by it. I hope I'm proven wrong. And I hope the lad can actually do something in a black and white shirt. But I think the reason we've signed him is because Wilson's going nowhere, to be fair, because nobody wants to buy him because he's just made their glasses, and to be brutally honest with you. And it is what it is, I suppose. Cushy's saying he'd love Gordon to sign a new contract. I actually think that's going to happen, Cushy. There is a few ITKs that are still trying to sell him at Liverpool, but I don't think that's happening at all. There's actually Anthony Gordon. He was spotted in Morpeth earlier on. I don't know if you saw that. I did have a picture of it somewhere, but I can't dig it out. I don't know where I put it now. But he was on for a little walk in the sunshine in Morpeth with a bunch of kids, Anthony Gordon, and he was looking like he was loving life in the northeast. So I don't think Anthony Gordon's going anywhere. All this Liverpool talk again, I don't think it's going to happen. I know the Everton fans don't like him anyway, but I can't see him going to Liverpool. I really, really can't. I think it's mischief making, it's bullshit. And I think he'll stay in Newcastle, and he probably will sign a new and improved deal like Bruno has and Isak has, and Isak will, and Gordon will be the next one. So because we have to build the team around these players. You've got Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Sven Botman, and I suppose you technically could say Pope because he's so important to the team, but maybe there'll be a new keeper coming to replace Pope. Hopefully not James Trafford, but there will be a keeper coming to replace Pope eventually. But you have to build the fulcrum of the squad around those players. And I think that's what the team will be doing, the club will be doing. And I think the hierarchy will be looking at that. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind at all about that, because I just think you have to protect your most important players and build the team around that 100%. Roger thinks Sala could be a good sign. He might very well be, mate. He might very well be. But I feel a little bit underwhelmed by it. I just think there's more proven players we possibly could have got. Maybe the other end of their career where they maybe come towards maybe their kind of late 20s, early 30s, and they're just looking for one last club. Who knows? But yeah, for me, I'm just not sure that this lad will do the business. But I hope I'm wrong. There is some promise there. There is some promise there. And Taganizer just saying that it's the pool echo driving the golden room as they spread more shit than our Chronicle. Absolutely, mate. The Chronicle is very clickbaity at the minute. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about, to be brutally honest with you. It's not. It's one of them things you look at it and you think, I just think they're trying to fill column inches. I used to write for a very well-known fanzine, True Faith. Certainly in lockdown, that was what I did to fill my time. I loved it, really enjoyed it. It kind of spearheaded me into doing this, to be brutally honest. But they didn't write clickbaity things. It was opinion pieces, and you find that the fanzines write better content than the actual newspapers do these days. And the Chronicle have really let themselves down in many ways. And there's some nice lads work there, and some of the journalists are good lads, but I think that some of the stories are just bullshit, really, one of a better word. But moving on to the next section, and guys, and I think this is, again, it kind of dovetails into what I was saying at the start of the stream there with regards to safety. Obviously, we have the Sela Cup coming up at the weekend, and just to let you know, if you're not going to the Sela Cup or you're not aware of it, so we are playing Girona on the Friday night, which is the 9th of August at 7:30. I don't think there'll be any trouble in that game. It's the Saturday the 10th that's the problem against Brest. Quite ironic, really. We're playing against Brest and you're worried about a bunch of tits running around Newcastle causing trouble. But there seems to be rumours and there's stuff going around that there may very well be one of these protest movements in Newcastle, I think around about the Greys Monument, on the Saturday at the same time as the game. So the game obviously kicks off at 4:00. Now, whether it's been and gone and dispersed by then, I don't know. But match going experience for a lot of people is a full day thing. It's a full day event. People go to the town and they spend all day there. They go and have a bit of brekkie, they have a couple of beers. They talk to their mates. They go to the ground. They come out, they have beers after, or if you're with your kids, you might go for a bit of lunch or whatever, and they come out. So people are in the town for a large portion of the day. And I just think that there will be some concerns there from a lot of families, I think, that, that they won't feel safe in the city. And I just think that's really, really sad. We put that tweet out and there was a lot of people, some of the stuff I was getting back was making me quite emotional, actually, to be honest with you. Some people are saying how they were flying in from abroad. They were coming from the south of the country, and this was their kids' first taste of St James's Park, their first chance to get them to a game. Because for a lot of the fans, our fan base is the most loyal fan base that there is in the world, in my opinion, and I love them for it, and we all adore them for it. But it makes getting a ticket for Newcastle League games extremely difficult. We've all seen the nonsense with the ballots and how difficult it is to get them. I haven't got them either. I jacked my season ticket years ago and can't get a ticket for love nor money. Used to be able to get a ticket all the time. Used to give them away like, fucking coupons. Someone would ring you up and go, fancy a ticket, mate, for the game. We're playing Portsmouth. We're probably going to get beat because we're shit. And you go, God, fucking I'll have a few beers, not my go. But you can't do that now because, we're obviously been taken over. Everyone's interested in the club again. And, and the season tickets are really, really finite and hard to get a hold of. Match tickets are hard to get a hold of. So these pre-season games are a lot of people's chance to take their kids to the ground and sample it. And I love seeing those videos, where you see kids walking up the step for the first time and the walk up and the mum or dad's video them and they see the ground and they see all the fans and the flags waving and the noise and it just makes them fall in love with this team we call United. And you can't lose that because of a bunch of wankers who want to just, destroy and vandalize and thieve and they're not marching for any reasons that people may think they're marching for. It's nothing to do with tragedy that's happened as horrible as it is, they're not doing that. They're just doing it because they just want something to smash. Sunderland and Middlesbrough have been affected by this already, and I know a lot of people think that Newcastle's got some kind of Geordie force field around it, some kind of black and white fucking laser shield that stops bellends getting into the city, but sadly it doesn't. And I just worry that there will be scenes of disrupt and violence and damage in the middle of Newcastle. And I really, really hope that the police get a hold of it. I really hope the club beef up the security as well, stop these people getting anywhere near the ground. But it is going to be a dangerous time, and I think I can understand why people are upset about it. But I can also understand why people don't want to ruin their experience. There's a lot of people saying, "Fuck it," we're going to the ground regardless, and these lot aren't going to stop us going. Friend of the channel, Lee, who used to do the show with the lads, I texted Lee the other day to check he was all good and said, be safe, mate, if you're going. And he said, they're never going to stop me seeing my team, and I love that, and I respect that opinion. By fans, it's absolutely fucking class. But I can understand in the same breath, I can understand the people saying I'm not taking my kids anywhere near that. I'm a father myself. My kids are a bit older now, but I wouldn't want my kids in the city centre if that was all bubbling under the surface, because it's only at the monument. I mean, you've all been at Newcastle. Most of you guys in the comments, you all know how close the monument is to the ground. It's not a million miles away, so that shit can spread quite quickly. So I just hope that there is some kind of safety precautions put in place by the authorities and the club to sort this out. I saw something the other day. There was one of the well-known YouTubers was talking on Twitter about it, saying that he thinks the game might get cancelled. I don't know where that would happen. The club are going to have to probably come out and talk about that soon enough, because it's coming at the weekend. It's Monday now. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. I know the trust said that they contacted the club to talk about it. So that would obviously be something that they're going to have to come out and talk to people about very, very soon, because there is going to be people that that are going to be spending a lot of money to get up here, traveling, flying over, trains, hotels. Doesn't matter that it's pre-season, doesn't matter at all. It's still going to cost a lot of money for people to get to the ground, but it's worth it for them, because it's the first chance for their kids to see this club, this team that maybe their mum and dads love and have always loved, and they want their kids to love it. And it would be so sad if people missed out on that. So I really do hope that there is a safety precaution in place. Now, going back to the games themselves, I mean, Girona themselves, I mean, I think Girona finished, what were they, kind of 10th or 11th or something in their respective league. And I think Brest was about the same as well, to be brutally honest with you. So, but we're not talking about huge Champions League type teams here, but there will definitely be better quality competition than Uriah Reds and Yokohama FM. But I mean, Newcastle so far, we've won every game bar the one on Saturday in the pre-season. And, we have had some decent little spells of play. I think that there's been some good performances. Like I said, Jacob Murphy's looked sharp. I think Barnes has looked sharp. I think Isak's looked sharp as well. That one-on-one scared the life out of me, to be fair, but he got back up and bounced back up really, really quickly off the back of that. But I just think that, we have to bring in a couple of signs, which I'm going to get into in a minute, really. But I just hope that this game isn't overshadowed by things off the pitch, to be brutally honest with you. As Ash says, there's plenty of bellends in Newcastle too. Seen them spout shouting X this week. It will kick off on Saturday. I mean, I do think that people who think that it's going to be all sweetness and light on Saturday, I think, they are living in a bit of a Disney movie, to be fair. It's not going to be the case. I think you need to have your wits about you. Kendall said he saw the status on him with the fires, vandalism, and thugs, and he realised it was just an average weekend. I must say, Kendall, you don't get many praise for Sunderland on any Newcastle channel, and this ain't a football team, by the way. I will praise Sunderland as a community, because they were absolutely brilliant coming out in force the next day, early doors, people giving up their time to clean their city up from the shit stains that were spreading up by these scumbags, and that is amazing, and that's community for you right there. So there's the only bit of praise you're going to get for Sunderland on my channel, or anyone's channel probably, right there. So well done, Sunderland, for that. You're not a massive club, but well done as a city. To be fair, yeah, Andy's got a point. If you don't go, they've won. I see that point, Andy. And I see that kind of that stance, mate, and I respect you for it. And some people like you are brave enough to do that and say fuck it, but other people, might be a bit concerned. You've kind of got to understand it, and you got to respect it. Marcus is saying, Chris, you have some of the best metaphors at your platform. Definitely my fave. Thank you very much, Marcus. Really appreciate that, mate. Always nice to be nice, isn't it, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Content creator hyperbole. They love it, says Ty. Hopefully you don't mean me, mate. I like to think I'm not as hyperbolic as the rest of them. I'll be getting Brucey slagging off. Well, but yeah, there is a little bit of hyperbole going on, I must admit, to be fair. Sorry, Sean. Girona came third. I beg your pardon. I thought it was 10th. I did try and click on the table there, but for some reason, my Google didn't work. I remember Mark telling me 10th. Blame Mark. He's not here. He's normally keeping me right. The stat man is out. So I'm blaming him for that one, Sean. But there'll be a decent competition in it to finish third, mate. So they should give us a good run for our money, to be fair, which is pretty good. Graham saying Girona, in fairness, dropped off at the end of the season. Most of the season, they were top 4, and the coach really highly rated. Yeah, superb. Absolutely brilliant. Ty is saying the same content created an entire video on a spunk stain he found. Oh my days. Well, I don't watch that, and I'm glad I don't watch that, to be fair, mate. So, bloody Nora. Roger's saying, just like they did in London, yeah, we did. Clean and tidy. Yeah, London was great as well, mate, to be fair. Actually great. Marcus is saying Mark is a badass. He is a badass, but he's my stat man. He's left me hanging here, mate. So, yeah, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with the games of the weekend. I really hope there isn't any bother. I hope all these fans go and really get a chance to enjoy the game. Sadly, I'm not going because I have just moved actually recently, so I've still got a lot of movie things that I'm doing, so I'm not able to go. But I hope whoever's going, again, stay safe, enjoy that game, and I hope Newcastle put in a good performance. And segue, you know I love a segue. They might even be parading a new signing on the pitch. Who knows? Because it's time for transfer talk, and you've all been talking about them in the comments. It looks very much like Newcastle United could be close to sealing a deal for Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace, the right-footed centre-half. Yes, he plays on the left-hand side of the defence, but he is a right-footed player. And Mark Gahey has been brilliant for Crystal Palace, largely in the main. He uses the ball well. He's quick. He's strong. Great positional sense. And not only that, he got himself into the England team for the European Championships, and he was brilliant. He kind of got there, I suppose, through injuries and selection problems, but he really stood up and he really showed everybody what a great player he is. And he looked fantastic next to John Stones. He really, really did. So I'm laughing at Ty's comment there. No chance, Ty. That's why I have a day job, my friend. That's why I have a day job. Yeah, I'm no true Geordie, mate. I can't buy a new gaff with my YouTube money. I guarantee I could maybe buy a little house from Smith's, possibly, but I don't think we'd fit in there, Bonnie lad. But thanks for thinking about me like that. But hey, you never know. I might be well on the way because Graham has kindly donated $10 there. He says, love the show, Chris, along with Toon Review. It's the best Toon podcast in my view. Thank you so much, Graham. Really appreciate it, mate. But yeah, going back to Mark Gahey, I think he's a really, really good player. I think he's 24 years old, Premier League experience, obviously England national, and it shows the ambition of the club. I mean, apparently Crystal Palace, I think, 50 or 60 million quid for him, and it sounds like we're going to have to go above the 60 million quid mark to get the deal broken. But I think for me, there was 2 key positions, or 3 key positions really, that Newcastle needed to strengthen in this transfer window. We probably should have strengthened them really in January, but obviously FFP causes a real issue. But it was the right-sided centre-back, because Fabian Schär is amazing and handsome as he is. He is not getting any younger, and we do need a long-term contingency plan for Fabian Schär. And also, you saw with the injuries last season, with the injuries to Botman, Lascelles had to come in as well. And I like Lascelles. He's a hard-working player, but he's not great. He's kind of a mid-table Premier League team defender at best. He's not top 6, top 4 Premier League defender. He's not. He works hard, he grafts, he throws himself in front of anything, and I love him for that. But we need better, and I think Mark Gahey is better, and I think bringing him in and getting him into this team, that covers that position so well. The next position we're going to talk about is right wing. Now, this may cause a bit of an issue, as I think, as Ian's just saying there, serious amount of cash for Gahey. And and Andy's saying, great show, Casterwich later, bad week. Now, thank you very much, Andy. Yeah, catch us on later on, buddy. But it is a lot of money to splash on the centre half. But as Graham says there, what a signing. If it comes off, it's a real statement and shuts up the media. ITK is not even a whisper. And again, people have talked about this kind of back four that you could be looking at with Tino Livramento, when they're all fit, obviously. Tino Livramento, Mark Gahey, Sven Botman, and Lewis Hall. and that is a brilliant back four. You throw Pope in the mix as well, which would be an incredible signing. But if we blow 60 million quid on Guy, will we be able to, or Gay, will fucking, how would you say it? Everyone say it differently. Guy, Gay, I don't know. He's class. But we need to spend money on a right winger as well, and a real top quality right winger as well. We can't be cheap on right wingers. We can't, buy somebody who's all right, or a championship winger or something like that. We need to spend big money on a proper right winger who can influence games and who can be a game changer. Now, there's been so many names thrown out there. You pick them. Some of them have gone really quiet. Pedro Neto's gone really quiet, has his injury issues, and I think maybe with the same with Mark Gahey as well, is other teams aren't in for Gahey. Because I don't know why. Liverpool, somebody tried to spread the shout that Liverpool are in from there. Liverpool have said, no, we're not in from. So it looks like Newcastle have a clear run at this player, so we can get him. Maybe Pedro Neto is the same, because people are worried about his injuries, regardless of his qualities. And we can again have a straight run at Pedro Neto. But if you're talking about dropping 60 million quid on Mark Guy, you have to do another 50, 60 million on Pedro Neto. So there's, 100, 120 million. You can spread it over the years, but that's maybe a reason why we went and bought Sala as the short-term striker. And maybe that is the case as well, in terms of the cheap striker, which is 10 million plus 5 on add-ons. And that might be the reason for it. If the club come out and say it, then fair enough, and that makes sense. Sean says, I think we'll need to sell to get a right wing. Unfortunately, no one seems that keen on leaving. I think Almiron's the one, isn't he, Sean? Almiron's the one who is probably going to fetch you about 20, 30 million quid. In the transfer market. And if you're lucky, I think Saudi Arabia teams are in from, I think Wilson would have maybe fetched you about 15, 20. But since he had that back injury, mind you, did you see that Adonis, he was like Apollo Creed skipping in the Newcastle gym the other day. My God, bad back. I don't look like that when I've got a bad back. I look like I've shit my pants and crawling across the floor like the Wolf of Wall Street. This bloke was skipping like he was about to take on Ivan Drago, but win the fucking fight. He looked in unbelievable shape to Callum Wilson. But I don't think people are going to sign Callum Wilson because they're scared of these injuries reoccurring, and that's why we're going to end up with a Sala at 10 million quid plus 5. But if that money can be spent on Neto and Gahey, then that's good business, because they're two really key areas of the squad strengthened. Yes, it's big money, but you got to spend it. Yeah, great shout, Ash. I mean, Chiesa's available for 25 million quid. This is a no fucking brainer. And I don't buy into this. He doesn't play right wing stuff. Go look at his career. He's played like 80 times on a right wing or something like that. He can play right wing, and he's such a good footballer. And yeah, we really should be going for him. And as Ian says there, look at them names: Rafinha, Neto, Gonzalez, Yilmaz. Yilmaz is another one that apparently Mitchell was heading over to Turkey for. I don't think he was getting his hair done, mind you. I might be on the next fucking plane out there. You never know. Sponsor the channel, hair transplants live on YouTube. I won't be like that other YouTuber you're talking about, Ty. But he was going over to the, I think it was the Turkish Cup game or something like that. Was it their Community Shield or something like that? He was invited by the directors or whatever, and Mitchell was going to go over there to look at Yilmaz, and he's another player that could light us up in terms of that right wing position. We need upgrades. I've watched some of these players even in pre-season. I know it's only pre-season, but again, Mickey looks like he's running around with no clue. Sean's passing's heavy. The injury to Louis Miley came at a really bad time, because I actually do think he would have been ahead of Sean pecking order. I still don't think Eddie would have sold Sean. I think he likes Sean. He sees Sean as a squad player, almost that James Milner type character, albeit I think Milner's a better player than Longstaff. But I think Miley's ahead of Longstaff, and it blows my mind when I see fans that don't think that. I just think, what football are you watching? Like, Louis Miley looks a better player at 17 than Sean does, 6 or 7 year older than whatever he is. But I think in midfield we're in a good position. With Tonali coming back, we've got Tonali, Joe Linton, Bruno, we've got Willock and Miley when he gets fit as well. Jamie Miley looked good when he came in. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Alfie Harrison's been around the first team as well. There's a couple of good youngsters who caught the eye. The winger, his name escapes me now. The winger, I'm just trying to see who he was. Jump in the comments, guys. Tell me his name. The kid with the dreadlocks. Is it Valati? Is Valti or something? It begins with an S. I can't remember it now. This is normally where Mark does a little Google for me in the background, but he ain't here, so I'm flying solo. But give me a shout at him in the comments, because he looked quite skillful as well. Maybe he could be something for us as well, coming through the academy. A2 saying this lad, Grutter, looks very, very exciting. One of the best weapons in the Eddie Howe effect. Let's use and get these young, hungry talents and develop them. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, we have got some good young players coming through, and that's not something that we've had for a while, to be fair. And it's something to be proud of. Dean saying could still get Yilmaz, who I thought looked to play relatively cheap. Yeah, that was Yilmaz we were talking about before. Paul Mitchell, mate. Neto is the answer, says Ian. I'm telling you, I actually do think Neto could be the one, Ian, because it's gone so quiet on that player that I think that there might actually be something in that. It's generally the ones that disappear off the radar are the ones that come on. I really do think that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. I really do, because I think that was a brilliant player, to be fair. If you can manage his minutes and get him fit, maybe James Bunds can come up with some kind of fitness program to get the best in Neto for the long spell of the season. Then he can stay fit all season and do the business. To Leroy, long time no see, Bonnie lad. Hope you are well. Is Guy definitely going to be Cher's eventual replacement of Botman's? It's just all the games I've seen Guy play last season. He was left-sided, but he is right-footed, Leroy, so he can play on the other side, mate. So Cher can play on the left side. Remember when Botman was injured, he went over and Lascelles played on the right, didn't he? And Cher played on the left. So I actually think if we do get Mark Gahey in, which looks very likely that we might do, I think Cher might slip over to the left side and Gahey play right, or vice versa, you know, and it does give you options there. You know, you got Kelly and you got Byrne in reserve as well. So yeah, I just hope he doesn't put Byrne at fucking left back. I will do my nut in the Southampton game if I see Dan Byrne at left back and Gahey and Cher in the middle with Tino on the right. I mean, if Lewis Hall gets dropped in that Southampton game, I'll be absolutely fucking livid, I must admit, because Lewis Hall's looked brilliant at the end of the season and pre-season as well. Teresa's S is saying, yeah, Kiese's knee is the problem. 2 words, mate. Demba Ba, remember? Stoke didn't want him. Failed the medical, didn't he? Come to us and he was fucking brilliant and drank all the strawberry syrup up in the whole of Newcastle. But what a player he was, and he had a bad knee. So yeah, just remember that one. Sean saying in Wembo, or is it? Oh, I always get this one wrong. Is it Mudueki? I like Mbembo, Sean. Really like Mbembo. And he can play centre forward as well when he needs to, if we have injuries or when we have injuries, if it's a bit too much for Salah. Mudueki, I worry about his attitude. I think he looks like a bit of he would fail the no dickhead policy. I might be wrong. He's got ability, no doubt, but he just looks like a bit of an arsehole. And I just wonder whether we need that around this squad, as we've talked about before, about the harmony around the dressing room. Do we need a player like that wants to steal penalties off people? Not for me. You know, it worries me about that guy. Yes, that was him there. Is it Sanusi? Trevan Sanusi. He looks mint, actually. Really, really does. He's got a real trick in his locker, a lovely bit of skill, quick feet. You know, he could be somebody you could just, a little bit of a Louis Miley surprise, 16, 17, or whatever he is, 18 years old, pull him off the bench, get him on, running at tired legs. He could win you a penalty or two, really. Yeah, Kendo's right. Miley and Gordon saved our season. I thought, well, Gordon was sensational most of the season. But yeah, Miley was a real bright spot last season. I hope he gets over this broken foot really quickly and gets back into the first team picture, because I think he's going to be a brilliant player for us this season, Louis Miley. I really do. Graham saying our midfield looks very strong, and if we can get the Palace lad, we could end up one of the best backlines in the league. I do agree with that. The biggest problem for Newcastle, guys, last season, and it will be for next season, is fitness. We need to keep fit. And I think bringing in Bunds is exactly the reason why they've done that. We have to condition these players to stay fit for large parts of the season. There's certain players like Callum Wilson whose body is getting to that stage where, regardless of how he looks like a fucking Greek god, doesn't he, to be fair to him, but he is injury prone. He's past 32 now, and the older you get, the harder it is to get over injuries. But a lot of these other younger players like Joe Willock's had horrendous injuries. Joe Linton had a bad season last season with injuries. Harvey Barnes with his cursed toe. These players need to get a fitness regime and a conditioning regime into their every single day lives, where we get the longest out of these players we possibly can next season. We have no European football to burn this squad out like we had last season. The squad was not prepared for the Champions League. It had nowhere near the depth. It had the depth of a fucking paddling pool last season. And that's why we were fucked. And we got burnt out and missed key players for large portions of the season. Eddie didn't rotate the squad enough because he didn't trust the players outside of maybe the first 12. I kind of get it, but it came back and bit us on the arse, and we can't afford to do that going forward. Next season, we don't have European football, so that is a massive burden away from us. we should really be able to go at this next season and really be able to push hard, I think, for top four, because that should be the target for me, 100%. Teresa West is saying we need to replace Miggy and Longstaff to assure ourselves a top four finish. They certainly look like that quality is regressing further and further, isn't it? In terms of being up at that level, because that level continuously lifts and lifts, and if you don't lift with it, you just go down. TJ Richards saying, yeah, Sansu very much an ASM replacement, very exciting. He did have a bit of the Maxis about him. Never really been convinced by Chiesa for us, says George. Yeah, could just be paper talk, could just be fans willing the sign to go through. But yeah, for me, I think he still would be a really, really good player. Leroy says he can't go back with Byrne at left back with Kelly and Hall around. Absolutely. He just really can't tune Leroy. I must admit, if he does, and he gets skinned, my God, we'll all be pissed off with that. Absolutely. No doubt whatsoever. But moving on to the last section of the night, guys, which is normally the one we really enjoy doing the most, which is Out of Toon. So just before we get into Out of Toon as well, there was some quite sad news. If I get my buttons ready, there was some quite sad news in the world of Newcastle United, where we lost one of our old favourite players, which was Tommy Cassidy, passed away. God rest his soul. Former Northern Ireland international, Newcastle midfielder as well. A little bit before my time, although I look really old. I'm not that old, I can assure you. But yeah, really sad to see Tommy Cassidy pass away. Thoughts are with him and his family. He had a great statement from the club, in terms of thanking Tommy for what he did when he was in a black and white shirt. And he was a hard-working player, smashed into people tough as nails, popped up with a goal or two as well. Really fondly remembered by fans of that generation when Newcastle were going through some real hardships. And Tommy Cassidy was a real loyal servant to the club. So that was really sad to see Tommy pass away, and thoughts are with him and his family, as you say, at this difficult time. But going into the Out of Toon and looking at the other options as well. So, or the other stories doing the rounds, that this one really did catch my eye, which was quite funny. So, if you remember, former Middlesbrough striker Martin Branthwaite. Now, Martin Branthwaite was shit for Middlesbrough and ended up getting a move to Barcelona of all fucking places and playing in the same squad as Messi, Neymar, Suarez. Then he moved on to a couple of different clubs. He's just left Espanyol, and he's gone over to Germany, I think, in Roma. Now, and you might not know this, but Martin Branthwaite is fucking minted. He's worth 300 million thanks to very clever investments in property. Now, this story really caught our eyes. So Martin Branthwaite has obviously been let go by Espanyol. They actually bought himself out of his contract because he is, richer than Yao, as Harry Enfield once said. But he said the Espanyol treated him really badly. So almost as a Bruce Wayne type move, I'm buying this hotel. He's actually looking to buy Espanyol, I think, for about, is it 180 million or something like that? The Branthwaite is worth 300, so he could actually swing this, and he could buy this club, which I think is hilarious, because if you're the sporting director or the CEO who's been a real cock to Branthwaite, then he might just sack you, which I think is absolutely brilliant. You don't really see that. As Ash says there, that is severe big dick energy. It's a real Bruce Wayne move, Ash, to be brutally honest with you. So it's incredible. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that before, to be honest. A player buying the club. Obviously the exception of someone like David Beckham or something like that. I think Mbappe, he's talking about buying a club in like the second division in France or some shit like that. But very, very strange. But yeah, it would be quite funny if I saw that. Ty has gifted an Evermore membership, guys. So yeah, someone's getting a lucky membership there. So thank you so much, Ty. Feeling generous, mate. Really appreciate that as well. Comment there coming through. Yeah, Ian says, Chris, my dad was chairman of Glentoran, and Tommy was the manager. He sacked him. Oh, wow, what a small world, man. What a small world. Davey said he used to go to Tommy's shop when he was a Bairn, top player and top bloke. Brilliant. It's great to see the good memories there about Tommy Cassidy. God rest his soul. Jonathan, hi, Chris. My name is called Jonathan. Will the game go on the Saturday? I don't know. I'm not privy to it. Obviously, I'm not in close connections with the club. I think what I would probably say is if anyone's going to tell you that, first and foremost, it'll probably come. If it doesn't come from the club directly, it might come from the Newcastle United Supporters Trust. If you remember that, Jonathan, some close friends of mine are on the board of the trust. and they will come out with a statement because they're very, very good at keeping the fans informed about things like that. They have spoke to the club. I think if the club are generally worried about people's safety, I think there will be something. There will be something that comes out. But just best thing to do, Jonathan, is keep your eyes on the socials, mate. Keep your eye on the club's, Twitter feed, the club's website for statements, and go and follow the Newcastle United Supporters Trust as well, because they will definitely come out and keep you up to speed. And if you're not a member, then you can go online and be a member, and you'll probably get an email about it as well. George is saying, love the show, Chris. Common sense more than most. Thank you, George. Really appreciate that, mate. Ian is saying, what are you going to whine about if we actually do good? I don't know, Ian. I might whine about the price of mints or something, mate. Who knows? Whatever catches me fancy. If something winds me up, I'll just have a moan anyway. Fuck it, why not? It's good. It's cathartic, mate. It's like a vent, a bit of smoke that blows out off your ears. So there we go. Right, I won't read your other comment. And if you don't like the channel, mate, you can jog on and watch something else, pal. Maybe you can watch the fucking Emmerdale Omnibus or something, mate. If you're not interested in watching the stream, no point in coming in the comments being a bell end, mate. Comment there from Toon Leroy saying Branthwaite would have to be part of a consortium, maybe with PIF, to truly be able to afford Espanyol. It might be one of the club's multiple purchases, really. Kendo saying there's a lot of doubt to rub in on a daily basis. Absolutely. Teresa saying, Chris, any chance of us to undo the Minter deal and pay 10% compensation if we get Guy? Yeah, to be fair, I'm still living about the Minter deal. I understand why we had to do it. And it is what it is, to be fair. We had to balance the books. I'd rather would have sold Minter than Gordon or Isaac, but I still can't believe we're in that position, to be honest with you. Dean said, I don't care what you ran about, Chris, as long as you hit your rants. I love them. No, you didn't hit a nerve, Ian, to be fair. I just thought you were being a bit of a knob. So I just call you out for it if I see it, mate, because I'm just in one of them moods, mate, to be fair. James Blunt tonight, mate. James Blunt. So moving on to the next part of Out of Toon now. Speaking of my rants, I have had a few rants about this individual because he hasn't wound me up. He's wound a lot of people up over the years. He bit like Mourinho. He came to the league and he started off quite funny and charismatic and cool. And then he turned into a bit of a whiny bellend himself, though he was a whiny bellendian. And this Jurgen Klopp has came out and he's actually said that that's him, done for coaching. He's not going to be a coach anymore. As far as he's concerned, he's coached two amazing clubs in Borussia Dortmund and Liverpool, and he won't be coming out. So that's his statement. As of today, that is me as a coach. I didn't quit on a whim, but it was a general decision. I've coached the best clubs in the world. So that's Jurgen saying he's not going to come back as a coach. Be interesting if he gets offered the Real Madrid or Barcelona job or even the Munich job. Let's wait and see that. But if you are missing Jurgen Klopp, you can very well have a look at Jurgen Klopp's clone, who is Schmergen Plop. No, I'm only joking. That is not him. This is actually the physiotherapist Igor Gruzovic from Shakhtar Donetsk, which is quite funny. As you can see, Mark has banged up the old Spider-Man point picture. I love that gif. That's one of the best gifs ever. But he bears incredible resemblance to Jurgen Klopp, apart from he looks like he's maybe been on the sunbed slightly longer than Jurgen. I don't know what his teeth look like, if they're from Turkey or not. We don't know. We'll have to check out Igor's smile if we see Shakhtar Donetsk play going forward. But so it's a shame to lose Jurgen Klopp from the world of football, but hopefully if he does come back, he won't be a whingy bastard like he was last time. But I'll tell you who's not had a great time of it, whoever organised the Olympic diving event. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but this was the Olympic diving event where they obviously put all of the swimmers into different lanes. Now, I'm not really sure, as the statement says, that whoever was putting Canada and America next to each other maybe read the script, in all fairness, because that is not a particularly clever move to have done, because that was pretty visible for everybody to see, to be fair. The fact that it was Harvey and Weinstein is not particularly great. I did love some comments on social media about the lane 1 and 2, which was like a Scottish guy from Glasgow saying, do you want to see my new car? Can he see my Nova? There you go. So that was pretty good as well. But that made us laugh. There has been some funny shit going on at the Olympics, to be brutally honest with you. So, as you say, Ian, number one, can he? Exactly. Yeah. Harvey Weinstein, you can't write it, mate. You cannot write it. I don't know who dropped that bollock, but somebody must have got their arse chewed out for that one, because that is hilarious, to be brutally honest with you. But yeah, that did make us giggle as well. But that's pretty much everything for the Out of Toon, guys. Just one last thing before I sign off for the night. Thank you so much to all of you who've stuck with us in the comments. It is just me, I'm Jack Jones. So Mark in here tonight. Hopefully be back next week, and we do wish him well, with the family matters that he's dealing with. Hopefully it's all good. Give Mark love in the comments, guys. He will watch us back, I'm sure, as he does, and he'll love to see those nice comments from you guys. But one last thing that Mark would talk about. So the Evermore FPL is back this season. I'm a miserable bastard and I don't play them because my reason is I get too stressed about watching football in general. I can't be stressed about other people's players. So call me miserable if you want. I'm okay. Ian Wade didn't mate. Call me a whiny miserable bastard in the comments. I'll take it. But you can join the Evermore League, and that is the code there. So 5PDD7T. That is for the FPL League. It's a good bit of crack. Mark keeps an eye on it, and then we normally have a competition prize for the winner as well. So go check it out, guys. Roger's already in the league, as he says there. So yeah, you enjoy it, Ian. Sorry, Roger, you enjoy it, mate. I'm not playing this year, but Mark gets stuck in. He enjoys it. Mark is a fantasy football nut. He loves a little bit of that as well. So what is this? Terrific lad is saying that was only half of Klopp quote used for clickbait. No, it wasn't. Fair dues. Yeah, Ian is saying love to Mark. Chris knocks it out the park as per usual. Thank you so much, mate. Really, really appreciate it. Don't you worry, Ian. I'm not taking it to heart, mate. We're just having a little bit of banter, mate. It's all safe in here. We keep it clean. We keep banter. Yeah, and thank you very much, Davey. Really appreciate that. But that's us pretty much done for this week's episode of What's Going On, guys. Thank you so much to all of the comments. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the love from me and from Mark as well. We'll be back through the week with some Rumour Has It videos, because there's a few more names being linked to the football club. This right winger situation is definitely going to wrap up, I think, once Mark Gay hopefully goes over the line. We'll do a reaction video to that deal when that goes through. As I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, smash subscribe, come and join us, help get us to the next milestone, which will probably be 8.5K, and then hopefully on to 9. Recommend us to family and friends. Like the video, guys. Have a belter. Thank you for tuning in. All the best, and we'll see you really soon. Cheers now.
Newcastle United